So where have you been? Tom, was it your birthday the other day? Am I the worst friend? Was it your birthday?
No, it's not even remotely close to my birthday. So I don't know. I don't know who you're thinking of. I like how you started this too. You were like, Tom, you've been here before. It's like, yeah, man, I'm your co-host. Of course I've
Yeah,
been
that
here
was that was
before.
a joke. I'm a funny guy, man. Of course. Material, man.
The delivery missed. Well, welcome back to Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. We didn't have a show last week due to some scheduling conflicts, which are all good. But every once in a while, we get a week off. I think we deserve it. It was not my birthday recently, so you're off the hook, Dom. Although you just telegraphed and announced that you have no idea when my birthday is, so that's cool. But yeah, no, it was not my birthday. My birthday, for the record, is in at the end of September. So you got a little while before you can miss my birthday again.
Is it worse that I thought it might have been your birthday and then I didn't reach out and say happy birthday?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that is worse. Maybe you're like, I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna say nothing. That's all good.
Honestly, I saw speaking of birthdays, and since Dr. Tachi's here, I saw her do a video about some people celebrating their birthday, and she was saying, "I just, I love her content." And the message was, the overall message that I got out of it was, if you want to celebrate yourself, good for you. If you don't want to celebrate yourself, good for you. Yeah, whatever you see fit is good. So before we get into advertisements that we're going to talk about, Dr. Tachi, was that an overarching message? Did I receive it right?
Good morning, all. Yes, absolutely correct. That is exactly the message. I'm not one that goes overboard with celebrating my birthday, which is why I made that. And I started to see so many social media posts within the last few years of people saying, Happy birthday to me. And I was like, you don't tell yourself happy birthday. You wait for people to say that to you and stop celebrating all year. Because that's not what I do. But then I had to sit back and think, number one, there are lots of people who don't get celebrated in any other way. And so they're like basically celebrating themselves, and that's fine. And in the society we're in, there's no guarantee that anybody else will celebrate you. So it's okay to do that. And if that's the type of person you are, go ahead and say happy birthday to yourself. I'm not going to do that. And I also realized that this comes out of this culture of what we've been taught in terms of being humble, displaying humility. And humility is good, it has its place. But sometimes we humble ourselves right out of celebration and humble ourselves right out of money, et cetera, because we're trying to be quiet about it. And again, we've been taught that by various institutions in society, religion, etc. So go ahead and celebrate yourself if you wish.
Dr. Tachi, I love the message, and it was eye opening for me because when, and not to be, what do you call that when you're thinking deeply early, I didn't realize that maybe some people don't have somebody to say, hey, happy birthday, or great job, or this, and so when you said that, I was like, man, that hit home. So I appreciate you bringing that up. If you want to celebrate yourself, as Dr. Tachi says, if you want to celebrate yourself, then do you. That's what I got there. All right, we got Chris, we got Austin, we got a bunch of people here today, Tom. So that's good. They didn't give up on us when you weren't around last week. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, when I wasn't around last week. Okay.
Okay. All right. So as we move on here, so I've been wanting to ask Tom about something so for months now, and finally I got to talk about it today. So we're talking about ads that speak to you, whatever it is. Like I see these ads on the internet all the time. It's like shows somebody's muscles on their stomach and like how you get an ab on your side, how you get an ab on this side, and it shows the muscles in red and then the muscles like moving, and that's how you get ab. I stop every time. They got me. Okay, must be an issue that I'm dealing with. And I see them, I'm like, maybe I should crunch this way or crunch that way. So ad I like. So Tom, an ad I brought up to you and I want to talk about is Top Dog Law. Top Dog Law to me are just an incredible commercial, but I don't want to go too deep. I want Tom's thoughts, and anybody here you can tell about Top Dog Law. But go on. What do you got, Tom?
Yeah. first of all, that was a wild segue from abs.
And go on.
But no, I mean, look, the obviously part of social media advertising is just stopping the scroll, right? Is just getting people to pause long enough to maybe click on, right? And that's why they're putting up, why so many people use commercials or advertising imagery where you have somebody who's very attractive, who has a very low body fat percentage, showing off their abs or their physique, to try to get you to stop the scroll, to try to get you to click on it, to go, ooh, wait, I can have abs like that. And I hate to burst your bubble here, Dom, but they're all lying to you. There's a really straightforward way to end up with a physique that looks like those people that you're stopping the scroll at, and it's very straightforward. It's being incredibly regimented with your diet. That's really what it is. It's more diet than exercise, and it's not fun. Like, I've never done it, and I wouldn't do it, because I've talked to people and I've read people's experiences trying to get their body fat percentage down low enough to really be able to sort of count their abs and really point them out and have that six pack, etc. And it's an awful experience. Basically, you eat chicken breast and broccoli and rice, period. That's it. That's all you eat for like a year. So if that sounds fun to you, or something that if that trade-off is worth it, if you don't really care about food or like eating or like things that taste good, then, go for it. But otherwise, it's awful and it's not worth it. But really what it comes down to is an incredibly regimented diet. So if you want six-pack abs, you can have them. You just have to be an absolute stickler with what you put in your mouth, all day, every day, for a long period of time, and the trade-off just doesn't seem worth it to me. So that's one. Now, in terms of the
Can I ask a question here before we get to top dog? I wondered, in the room here, if you could flash your mic, if you've ever heard the Top Dog Law commercials on the radio, where a guy basically raps through a commercial for a law office. So anybody, I'll give you a 3, 2, 1. If not, we're going to be the first ones telling them about it. So Dr. Tachi's never heard Top Dog Law. Okay. So, okay, Tom, it looks like we are introducing the world to Top Dog Law for the first time. So go on.
Yeah, well, I only know about Top Dog Law not because I ever heard the commercials on the radio, because I don't listen to the radio because it's 2025. And most of the world has left terrestrial radio behind. But apparently there's still 7 people that listen to it anyway, including you, Dom. But but yeah, I only know about it honestly because you've mentioned it to me. I think you've mentioned it to me before, even before today's show. You mentioned it to me in the past, and so I looked them up. I looked up and listened to a couple of the commercials. In fact, I found videos of radio DJs reacting to the commercials, which was kind of funny and a little bit meta. But anyway, yeah, they're hilarious, right? And they're obviously intended to be over the top, right? They're not supposed to be taken completely seriously. They're meant to sort of poke fun at legal commercials. They're meant to sort of poke fun at the ridiculous ways that people phrase things, go at things, et cetera, when it comes to this kind of style of advertising. They're meant to poke fun at it. They're meant to stand out due to how ridiculous they are. And I think it works. I think there is something valuable in standing out from the crowd, right? There is something valuable in breaking through the noise. And that's exactly what these commercials have enabled this law firm to do. Even the name of the law firm is kind of ridiculous, right? And I think it's meant to be ridiculous, because when you think about personal injury attorneys, a lot of their sort of marketing and advertising is all built around how they are the best. We get the most for our clients. We've got the biggest settlements ever. We do this better than anybody else. We do that better than anybody else, right? That's all of those kinds of, that style of advertising is all about one-upsmanship. And so he has just kind of taken that to the next level and said, oh yeah, well, I'm the top dog. Come at me, right? I'm the best of the best. What do you got? You can't beat me. You can't win. No one's bigger than me. No one's better than me. It's sort of the Muhammad Ali approach to legal advertising, right?
Would you think that this is a bro marketing approach to law advertising?
No,
It is
because
like,
I think
no, okay.
because I think he's being self-deprecating, right? Bro marketing is never self-deprecating. They are always 100% serious about how great they are, and he is absolutely being self-deprecating. He's being ridiculous on purpose, and he knows he's being ridiculous, right? Like, so it's not like, when Grant Cardone, says with a completely dead serious face, all you have to do is start buying properties when you're in your early 20s and you'll become a millionaire, as if that's something that's just accessible to everyone, right? Like, he's not being self-deprecating. He actually believes that that's just something that people can do, right? And doesn't acknowledge the fact that for a large portion of the population, in fact, I would argue probably the majority of the population, that's not something that's even remotely accessible for them, right? That's not an option. You can't just go out and start buying properties when you're in your early 20s and building a real estate empire. It's not like people are just choosing not to do that. They don't have access to it, right? But he's not making fun of that. He's not making fun of himself for thinking that or saying that. He's saying it with sincerity and honesty, which just demonstrates how completely out of touch with reality he is, right? And how he lives in this, like, private jet bubble of, oh, everybody could just go buy real estate if they want to, right? Why not? Whereas with Top Dog Law, and if you go to his Instagram too, his Instagram is ridiculous too, right? Like, and it's all kind of like in this vein of like, I don't take myself too seriously. Like, do I do something very serious? Yes. Do I help people? Yes. But like, obviously also I'm not high on my own supply, right? Like, I'm not drinking my own Kool-Aid. I get that at the end of the day, I'm just a lawyer trying to make a living and trying to help out my clients, right? Like, he gets, I think it comes through that he's being self-deprecating. He's not taking himself too seriously. Whereas, by contrast, people like Grant Cardone or Alex Hormozy or any of those sort of bro marketing gurus all take themselves incredibly seriously. They think everything they say, should be inscribed on a tablet and held up high for everyone to worship. And that's obviously not the case.
Okay, I think it's a good answer, and I love it because, as you said, it is different. So here's a law firm. So the law firm has commercials where a guy raps with a very unique voice. And he raps and says, you got to come to Top Dog. Top Dog's going to be the lawyer that you got bit by a dog. Well, this dog's going to bite you, and it's Top Dog lawyer, and he's going to bite you, and you're going to make more money. You got hurt in a car accident. Well, this lawyer is going to get you cash. You're going to make it big. You're not going to struggle. You're going to be rich. And I mean, like, and the guy raps through it, and it's so different than everything that's on the radio. And one, they're consistent. We're talking about Top Dog Law commercials. So right now, I want to say, now I've been in New York and heard them. I've been in Philadelphia and heard them. My son goes to school in Philadelphia. I was in Pittsburgh and heard them. I drove to Chicago and heard them. So I hear Top Dog in all these different markets, man. So but I love it. It catches my eye. It's different, as Tom said. I agree. He's not taking himself too serious. So go on, Tom.
I was just going to say, do you hear him at all your FM radio enthusiast meetups? Is that where you guys sit around and listen to your Top Dog Law commercials?
Well, number one, where am I going to hear local Pittsburgh sports radio if I'm not on the radio? And why are you so down on traditional radio? I mean, people are in the cars all times. I don't have to hook my phone up to the car to hear the radio. I just go doop and hit a little dial, one touch, radio on.
I mean, my phone automatically connects.
What if you're in a no service area? Come on, man. Okay.
Then I hate to break it to you, Don, but if you're in a no phone service area, there's a good chance you're not getting radio either.
No, I'm getting some AM. I just cruised.
You know how cell phones work, right? You know that they're radios.
Oh, honk shoot. Tom is feisty.
I got 2 weeks of barbs to throw your way.
Man, AM radio is good too, Dr. Tachi. So since you're up here, Dr. Tachi, any commercial that stops you, what is one that you see? It could be online, it could be on TV, whatever, that you're like, whoa, this is the one. I get it. I'd like to duplicate. They're doing something different. I feel this. What do you got for us? She's like, I've never heard a
Okay, I
commercial.
don't know why it wasn't on miking. That's not the word, but definitely I don't I watch television. I'm a television addict, but I'm more on YouTube these days and on streaming these days. So I'm obviously getting ads on YouTube because that's what YouTube does. And so what will happen is, in the middle sometimes of YouTube videos, but like right before I go to one, they show these different types of videos or different types of ads. And it could be an ad or it could be an entire YouTube video because you have the option when you're doing YouTube advertising to select what the video is going to be. So you never know what you're going to get. So I think it's actually brilliant because sometimes you think, who wants to sit there and watch an entire show? But I have to the point of, oh, I'm supposed to be watching this other video because they selected ads that for their algorithm based on what I generally watch. They'll show things that probably fit within. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it does fit within what I would normally see. So sometimes you get ads for actual products or services, but then sometimes you get quote ads that are placement of YouTube videos. So those have sometimes caused me to go and check out the other things on their channel. I found out now I'm a Marvel person, but I didn't realize that they were doing, full programming on YouTube of the cartoons, the animated things they have. That popped up in as I was watching. I said, wait a minute now, Spider-Man, I got to watch this. So I think that's brilliant, the way that they're using the algorithms to which social media marketing does to determine what you're likely to watch or to buy. But I particularly think it's effective the way YouTube is doing it because after a while, after you get over the annoyance of the ads, because I'm not paying for YouTube, the regular YouTube, it starts to okay, you get used to it and then you start to pay attention to these things. We've become so used to not necessarily having ads before, right? Until they figured out, well, you're going to watch ads. Otherwise, you will pay for the privilege of not having them. But before, we had gotten so used to not having ads that it became very annoying to have all these commercials and these advertisements. But once you get used to it, there are some very effective ones. I don't know if that's the answer you were looking for, but that's what I'm seeing per my YouTube viewership.
That's good stuff, Dr. Touchy. Now the question is there any way for you or us to do something like that, or is it just YouTube does it?
Yeah.
We can't.
Yeah. So what you do is there are two different things. It's all Google. So you can actually use a video and go through the Google Ads Manager and do it that way. Or you can do something simple, just like how, on Facebook, where you can boost a video. On YouTube, you can promote a video. And when you're watching YouTube, for example, if you're watching it on your television and you go to your YouTube, home screen, right? You will see the very first video to the left will be whatever is being promoted or an ad, right? So if you pay for that, it can show up there. So you can also, when you promote a video, you can select what your goal is. So it could be to get more views on that particular video, or it could be to get more views on all of your videos and grow subscribers. So there are two goals you can have when you promote a video, or you can go through the route of actually using Google Ads Manager, which is a little more targeted.
Now that's some good stuff. Thank you, Dr. Tachi. Tom,
Absolutely.
what say you about all that? You got any thoughts? Or you got something mean to say? Go on.
I don't have anything mean to say. I'm not to Dr. Tachi. I got plenty of mean things to say to you, but not to Dr. Tachi. No, look, it's the sort of the nuances of those things are definitely, I don't want to say out of my depth because it's not exactly the right way to put it, but not something that I tend to focus on, right? So I really appreciate, the level of detail that Dr. Tachi brings to the conversation when she kind of gives all of those insights into the nuances of how you can actually use those ad tools and the tools available through YouTube and Google to grow, to grow your follower base and to expand the viewership of the content that you put out on YouTube. So I appreciate it. It's something that I just don't have the patience for. It's weird because I have the incredible ability, an incredible ability to focus on and spend an inordinate amount of time focused on a particular task if I find that task engaging, right? Like I literally spent, this is not an exaggeration, I literally spent 14 hours at my desk yesterday working on a project for a client. Literally, like not an exaggeration, 7 a.m. to after 9 p.m. yesterday at my desk in my office. And the time flew by. It did not feel like I was at my desk for 14 hours. And obviously I took some breaks to get up and get some food and et cetera, et cetera. But not a lot of breaks. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for dinner. So, didn't take long breaks. PB&J, by the way, still a great sandwich. Anyway, but yeah, when it comes to something that I'm engaged in, something that I enjoy, something I'm passionate about, no problem. 14 hours, no big deal, right? 10 minutes trying to figure out how to use ads or ad manager on YouTube, I'm done. I'm out. I've lost interest. So I very much appreciate people like and brains like Dr. Tachi's that are interested in those things and can dig into them and share insights with the rest of us. Because yeah, I sure don't have the capacity to do that myself.
Hey, speaking of just small YouTube things while we're discussing it, a lot of us do shorts. Does everybody know that you can connect your shorts right to your long form videos? Like when you go into your edits, you can go right in and it says like related video. So if you got a long form video, like let's say me and Tom put this on YouTube afterwards, actually it goes right up on YouTube. But we can, if we make a short of Dr. Tachi breaking down ads on YouTube, we could make that short and then go into edit and put related video and it goes into your long stream. So Debbie or anybody making long form videos, the short form is a great way to funnel people right to your long form video. So I go for it. Okay.
That's a good tip, Tom. Definitely something I did not know. Because again, I don't think I've ever posted a short on YouTube. I can't remember the last time I even logged into the sort of like the control panel on YouTube.
Dr. Tachi, I'm going with this. Tell Tom about shorts on YouTube. What kind of numbers you get?
So this is the interesting thing about shorts, because shorts are it's vertical video and it's aimed at basically the TikTok brigade. Those people who are already used to watching vertical short form video, and you can basically scroll through your shorts feed and watch so many people. There are people that will I will scroll through the shorts feed, on my phone, and you see all these wonderful shorts. So I'm a long form YouTube watcher, but if I'm on my phone, sometimes I'll just look at a short. Oh, that's interesting, and it's one after the other, very similar to TikTok. Now here's the others. So definitely do some shorts, because as Dom said, you can connect those shorts to the longer form video, and you're basically steering people to the longer form video. Is that always the case that they go there? No, but sometimes they will. Because of the act of people scrolling through, you tend to get more eyes on the shorts than you may on your longer form video, depending on who you are. But you can get lots of views, which is why, to qualify for the different programs they have like 2 creator programs. The shorts requirement is either 10 million views for the full one, or watch hours. Sorry, 10 million views or 3 million views for the smaller one. So not to get too deep into it, but definitely I would say do some shorts, because you can impart some knowledge, and shorts are up to 3 minutes. So you can have up to 3 minute shorts. That's 3 minutes to impart some knowledge, give some tips, whatever the case may be, that somebody would encounter through shorts, and maybe not through you doing a regular longer form video on YouTube. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm still not gonna probably dig into it. Just don't have the attention or the time. Honestly, I'm just gonna go ahead. I mean, when else? When am I not just too honest? But yeah, I just don't have the ability or the capacity to really dig into that. I will never do it. I know myself well enough to know that I'll never do it.
already made it short form. Put it one more place. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not that simple, right? Like it's not that simple. It's not like, oh, I'm just gonna like post this one because then I gotta go into it. I have to like rename and move this live video over to like the other stream on YouTube, and then I have to tie it's like 6 extra steps. It's not a 10-second thing. If it was
kind
10
of
seconds,
like hooking my phone up in the car. Okay. Go. So we got some comments here. We got a comment from Chris. He says,
yeah.
Chris
Well,
says, go
ahead. Go
go,
ahead.
what do you want? You want to respond to him? Go ahead.
Yeah, you asked me to, and then you started diving in as if
go on,
hadn't responded. So and this is probably kind of directly targeted at me because years ago I said to Chris, don't ever film vertically. Everything is landscape, right? Like film everything with your phone, landscape, period. Right. And then he just posted the comment, never vertical, always landscape. The world has changed. Right. And so here's the thing is, I would say if you are only going to here's what happens is if you shoot vertical, what you are doing is you are essentially limiting yourself to having that be a vertical video, or if you ever want to post that piece of content on a regular YouTube video or on other social media platforms or whatever that do not prefer vertical video, right, or aren't set up for vertical video, then you end up with like the blurry boxes on either side or whatever, right? And you're kind of limiting yourself. So here's what I say is always shoot longer form content. If it's going to be more than just a quick little video, right? And you plan on putting it up anywhere else, or you're going to dig into something, always shoot it 16:9, which is landscape, right? Always shoot it 16:9 and just shoot it a little bit loose. And what I mean by that is like, make sure that you're giving a little bit of, think of it as like margins, right? So like on a piece of paper or in a word processor, when you're typing it out, like there are margins around the edge of the paper so the type doesn't go off the page, right? So think of that. Just give yourself a little bit of cushion, a little bit of margin around your subjects and around what you're filming. And then if you decide you want to take a clip of that and make it a vertical video, you can do that, right? Because then you're just taking a vertical slice out of that landscape video, that 16:9 video, and you can share that wherever you want, right? So I would say when in doubt, shoot landscape, shoot 16:9, shoot horizontal, not vertical, shoot it a little bit looser than it seems that you would want it to be, and then crop a vertical video out of it, right? But then you're not limiting yourself. Like what you always want to do is leave yourself as many options as possible when it comes to what you can do with the video. And the most options you have, the most options you'll get from filming is by filming in landscape, filming in 16:9, right? And then converting that to vertical. You can't go the other direction, right? It's sort of like if you're cooking, you can always add more salt, but you can't take it out, right? So like, the filming vertically and then trying to make it, 16:9 or landscape or horizontal is basically the equivalent of oversalting your food and then trying to get the salt back out of it, right? It never really looks great. It doesn't work well. Something's off, right? It's not perfect. It's not great. It's not as good as you want it to be. So that's my advice is always shoot landscape and then convert it to vertical for short form content, not the other way around because it doesn't really work.
May I add something?
Please, that's what you're here for. Go on, Dr. Toucher.
Thank you. I 100% agree with that. Because you can get rid of what you don't need, but you can't create what you don't have. So I 100% agree with that. I would add this though, because if you know that, which is why you have to plan. If you know that you're probably going to throw this up on a platform that is vertical first, or vertical tends to be the things people gravitate toward, you also have to be careful when you're shooting, because then you could end up with nothing in the frame when you're ready to go, or things are outside of the frame that you need them to be. So I would also say if you're going to do both, that you need to be aware of that, because if you've shot something in 4K or good for you, 8K, and you've got this really, really wide aspect ratio, and you just need the 9 by 16, you may not have anything in your frame to make it worth it. So I 100% agree that it's limiting if you only shoot in vertical. But if you know vertical is going to be part of that ecosystem, then keep that in mind when you are shooting, so you end up with what you need within that frame. My thoughts.
I love that. That's a great addition, Dr. Tachi. And what I would say to further that is, if you're not sure, do a little practice, right? Shoot a little bit of video, and then using whatever editing software you want to use, either on your phone or on your computer, then play around with it, right? Shoot a couple of different kinds of videos, see what works best, right? Maybe go to YouTube and watch a tutorial, right, on how to edit vertical videos, right? Using the software, whatever software you're using, your software of choice, right? So play around with it, experiment, right? Practice, as we've talked about a million and one times here and Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. Practice makes improvement, right? So film a little video, practice converting it from 16:9 to 9:16, right? From landscape to horizontal, figure out what works, what doesn't, and then go from there, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, don't limit yourself by shooting vertical first, because you are hamstringing your ability to reuse that content in other places.
Good stuff all around. I appreciate we're getting in some high value here today. So I see a comment from Facebook. Jamie Hill says, I want to make verticals. So my challenge to her is based on everything you heard here today. Make some verticals. You got this. So get out and do it and tag us and let us know how it goes next week. We want to see you doing some verticals. And I appreciate Tom's comment about practicing. Like you do, we always talk about reps in here and doing it. I look at some of Tom's shorts sometimes and I'm like, that short's better than mine. And now obviously Tom's in production, but I'm like, it's still better. I see a different focus. So there's times where I'll go, what does he do here? Okay, how do I make mine look more like that? And practice. But it is trying to mimic. Okay, here's what I see. I see where this is better than mine. Now, I might not have those skills, but if I look at right here and get this more like his. So thank you. All right, it's time. One, we appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you. You could be anywhere else, but you chose to be with the boys from Not the Smartest Guys in the Room and Dr. Tachi hanging out, and all the house members listening while they're doing other things or at your desk today, or sneak in a listen while your boss is somewhere else or while your kids are running around. We appreciate you while you're at the doctor's office. If you're laughing and you're enjoying the show and getting something out of it, thank you for being here. It's because of them, right, Tom? Or else we would just be sitting here arguing about AM radio and terrestrial radio all day.
Just shouting into the void.
Okay, so now it is an important time of the show. It is time for Tom's Thumbs. We're going to I'm going to be direct with Tom's Thumbs today. Tom, we've been down this way before, but now today, I'm going to ask you, what do you think about the fashion and grandeur of the Met Gala?
I got to tell you, first of all, I am not a fashionista. I forget what movie it was from. It was from a movie or TV show where they were somebody who was, the character was not very bright, was trying to talk about fashion and was calling them fascists, which I thought was hilarious. Fascist with an SH instead of the SC. But anyway, I am not a fashion student, right? So generally speaking, I'm not. I can't even think of the last time I even remotely paid attention to the Met Gala. I think I saw a New York Times article pop up about the fashion from this year's Met Gala, and I did not look at it. So I genuinely am not all that interested in high fashion. It's kind of, honestly, it's one of those things that's a little bit beyond me, and so I don't really have a lot of interest in it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me, like when you see runway shows and all of that kind of stuff. I just like New York Fashion Week. You see all the things that designers debut on the runway there. And I look at it and I'm like, that's not clothes. Like, you can't wear that to work or a restaurant or even out in public. Like, what is this? What is happening right now? Like, you can't even sit down in that. That's not clothes. So generally speaking, like the fashion, I think is it's lost on me. It's beyond me. But I do know that this year's Met Gala, the idea was to point attention to some. I don't know the right way to say it. Like, honestly, I all I know is a very little tiny bit that I saw that basically there was some attention, or some of this year's Met Gala was to draw attention to Black artists or Black performers. And I genuinely, that's all I know. So I can't even really comment on it because I'm not even sure exactly what the intention was and what the focus was. I've paid that little attention to it. So I don't know. I'd have to ask. Maybe I'd ask. Dr. Tachi commented this Met Gala was special. So Dr. Tachi, why don't you tell me why it was special?
Tom, and then you're gonna base your thumbs up or thumbs down. And the question was, what do you think about the fashion and grandeur? So just because.
Well, that's not what you said.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I don't
because
think that's what you said.
what do you think about fashion and glamour of the Met Gala? Yeah, because
See, now you're changing words already.
But I phrased it specifically so that because the Met Gala raises money for the museum, so I don't. Of course, that's a good thing. So that's why I didn't want you to give a thumbs up down to that. But we'll go to Dr. Tachi, and then we should replay it back and see what they said. Hey, Jason's in the house now. Okay, Dr. Tachi, finish us up on the Met Gala here.
Yes. So I watch the Met Gala every year. And fun fact, I initially wanted to be a fashion designer and wanted to go to FIT and all of that. So that I went a different way, but fashion is still my thing. So this year's Met Gala, the theme was super fine, and it was looking at the tradition of Black dandyism. And so when we look at it kind of historically, for people that have been so oppressed and denigrated in this country, the way you rise above that is through different things. We rise above it through comedy. We rise above it through dance. We rise above it through fashion. And so when you're not seen as acceptable in the sights of people, you find ways to become more acceptable. And in that, trying to become a part of the fabric of the American culture, you create your own specific style. I'll give you an example. You're from New York, Tom, so you know Dapper Dan, and a lot of people probably know Dapper Dan. Well, he grew up in Harlem, and Harlem was one of the epicenters of the hip hop, of early hip hop. And so when the luxury designers were not making clothes, or were not paying attention, I should say, to those in the hip hop industry who had the money to buy some of these things, but they were not taken seriously, Dapper Dan said, okay, well, we'll deconstruct these things and make things that we can wear. And so it became this luxury hip hop mashup. And so you get from that this whole concept of dandyism. It's beyond the types of clothes, which tended to mirror suits. It's finely tailored things. So it's about tailoring, it's about style, but it's also about rising above the circumstances you're in by presenting that style. So that's kind of my take and assessment of that. And this whole past 2 weeks, they've done a thing talks about Black dandyism at the Met. And the Vogue for this month, there are 4 different covers that feature the 4 different chairs of the Met Gala, A$AP Rocky being one, Coleman Domingo being another one. So there were 4, and they did a whole shoot in Harlem. So you can pick up the Vogue if it's still even available. Okay, there we go.
Thank you. Now we got some information for you, more information for you, Tom. So it is back to Tom on thumbs up, thumbs down. Now that you're educated a bit.
Yeah. Thumbs up, obviously. That's all I have to say. Nothing to add.
There you go. That's a home run. We got multiple eggs. You never know what's going to get a thumbs up from Tom. Eggs get a thumbs up. Eggs get a thumbs down. Who knows? On Tom's thumbs. Tom's thumbs. I was talking to one of your counterparts the other day, Tom, and I told her that Tom gave a thumbs down to low orbit space travel the other, or was it a thumbs up? I forget. Anyway, all right, let's go on.
No, I gave it a thumbs up Now, do I give a thumbs up to that particular Blue Origin space flight? Absolutely not. That gets a thumbs down for sure. And I think all of the blowback is 100% warranted, right?
Right.
They got dressed up and they went on a ride, and now people are trying to pretend like they're changing the world, and it's not even remotely close to true.
You better watch yourself or you're going to end up getting kicked out of that Katy Perry fan club you're in.
Yeah, that's not a fan club.
Okay, it says today the boys are back. Stop by and say hi. We were talking about ads you liked, why you liked them. We talked about Top Dog Law. We talked about all kinds of. There was another ad I think you were going to talk about today, Tom. But I wanted to say an ad I hate. I hate when I see this ad. The style of ad. I hate when people pretend that they are doing a podcast, and that's the ad. Like, it's like, hey, how about that mortgage? I got a lower rate at, Dollar Finance. Wow, dude. And it's like two buddies or two girls like at their pretending the podcast is so lame. I hate it. And every time I see it and it's like, I despise it. So
I know which ones you're talking about. I think there was one I saw that's for a supplement, I think, or something like that. And so it's like it's a man and a woman, and they're like pretending to do a podcast. And the guy's like, so tell me about this, what's been going on with your health recently. And then it cuts to the woman, and the woman's like, yeah, ever since I started taking like XYZ supplement, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, all right, come on, you're not fooling anybody. You had me for like half a second. And then I was like, as soon as I saw that it was just a lame pitch, I ran away.
They do them out on the streets too. It'll be like, oh, how many, you've got too many. Yo, bro, you've got too many services. Let me check your phone. How many are you paying for monthly? And it's like, oh, I mean, I don't know why you purposely make what I would consider it's bad visually. It looks lame across the board. It's trickery. It's very odd. I don't know who's saying, wow, I really like this.
Yeah. I don't know either. Again, like that kind of advertising, to me, they're just playing the numbers game, right? Like they're not trying to be creative. They're not trying to be original. They've got a big ad spend. So they're just creating something that they think will get people to click a little bit, or that they know if they put out a call to action, they put it in front of 1 million people, that 100,000 of them will click on it. And that, out of that 100,000, 10,000 will go to the website. And out of that 10,000, 1,000 might buy. Right. So they're putting it in front of 1 million people to make 1,000 sales. And that's they're just playing the numbers game. Right. The problem with that is, and we've talked about it before, is it's not sustainable long term, because that kind of churn, you think about, you have to burn 1 million people basically to get 1,000 sales. How often, how big is your market? How many times can you burn 1 million people to get that 1,000 sales? Like how do you sustain that churn long term? And the answer is either you don't, or you scale big enough to where it doesn't matter, like Amazon, right? And they have so many products, and they've scaled so big that they can burn enough people, right? They can afford the churn, but because they've got other products to bring people back. But if you're a single retailer, or an e-commerce retailer that makes a product or has a couple of products, you really can't afford to do that kind of churn. So there's that. Should I mention real quick the commercial that I wanted to talk about, and then we'll go to Jason, get his thoughts on
yeah, let's go
advertising.
Commercial, and then Jason, we're coming to you for a good or bad commercial, one that makes you watch or not watch. But go on, Tom. What you mentioned one, so what do you got?
Yeah, so one of my favorite commercials of all time is, in terms of production value, awful, but in terms of concept, it's fantastic. So it was done, I think it was done about, I don't know, 16 years ago, by the internet famous duo Rhett and Link. They host a morning show on YouTube every day called Good Mythical Morning. They've got a kind of a YouTube empire. They're two of the most subscribed. They have their channel, Good Mythical Mornings, one of the most subscribed to YouTube channels on YouTube. They have, I forget how many, 20 something million subscribers or something insane. So they're a big deal on YouTube. They've been on YouTube for a long time. 16 years ago, they were in North Carolina, which is where they're originally from, and they were trying to create content. And they decided to go around to businesses, and they said, "Hey," basically, they made a deal with these businesses and said, "Hey, we'll make a commercial for you for free. You don't have to pay us for it. All we're saying is, or all we want is, if you get a bump in sales, after which then we want to get paid. Like after the commercial's done, after it's out, if you get a bump in sales, we want to get paid out of that bump of sales." Right. So they kind of made this deal. They went to this company called the Red House Furniture, an appliance company, right? Or this like store. And they made a commercial for them. It's like a 90-second long commercial. They wrote a song. It's intentionally kind of bad, right? They're sort of being self-deprecating. But one of the things they did is they're in North Carolina, and, you know, obviously in the South, as it has long been, you know, all over the place, but race plays a big role. There is, despite what a lot of people think or see or think they know, there are definitely still large parts of the South that are, while they are not legally segregated, i.e. segregated by law, they remain sort of culturally segregated. And, you know, North Carolina is one of those areas that has that kind of, that has carried that forward. And so they made this commercial, and the title of the YouTube video is "Black and White People Furniture, Red House Commercial." And the song essentially says, "At the Red House, where Black people and white people buy furniture." And they have a bunch of people who work at the Red House, and you know, like, they introduce themselves, they say their name, their nickname, you know, that they work at the Red House, and their ethnicity, and, you know, give like a little like thing at the end. It's really funny. So, like, you know, like it's you know, my name's whatever. They call me Big Head is one of the guys at the beginning of the ad. They call me Big Head. I'm Black and I work at the Red House, right? He says and then he says, "And I love blah 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 blah," right? And popping furniture into pumping iron and popping furniture into people's houses, I think is what he says. Something like that. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely absurd. And it got so much traction that their sales went insane. Like, apparently they still get people 16 years later, they still get people coming into the store saying that they saw this commercial because they talked about something that nobody else would really talk about, right? The fact that there really were in North Carolina stores where Black people shopped and stores where white people shopped, right? Still 16 years ago in the 2000s, right? In the 2000s, there were stores that were essentially still segregated in North Carolina. And so they were kind of pointing to that and making fun of it, and kind of highlighting how stupid that is, right? That was still kind of the tradition, right? And so yeah, so they made this series of commercial, and the sort of tagline, like I said, is "At the Red House, where Black people and white people buy furniture." And it's hilarious, it's ridiculous, it's self-deprecating, it's fantastic. It's got 8 million views on YouTube 16 years later. So obviously it's got some sticking power. It's done really well, and I think it's a really, really well done, really well executed ad that does what advertising should do, right? Which is drive attention to the business, attention to what the business offers, and get people to go to that business, make people feel good about supporting that business. That's what advertising should do, and I think that's what that commercial achieves. So that's why it's one of my favorites.
Well said, man. I look forward to looking for it now. So thank you. Okay, our friend Jason stopping by here. Jason stops by here and there. We appreciate your support, my friend. So Jason, a good or bad ad, one you like, or one you're like, I will not listen to this and I am turning the channel. What do you got?
I'm going to be controversial, and I hope I don't get you guys canceled for saying the words that I'm going to say. So I'm letting you know right now, because there is a company that I can't remember the exact, I don't know if it's not Ozempic. They keep talking about these vaccines, right? Like Gardasil, this is going to protect you against cancer. And it's like, I can't stand seeing it. I like want to throw a rock at my TV every time I see it, but it's always saying, well, you know, to guard yourself against, what is it? Some kind of illness, or I don't want to say disease, but it's something where you're more likely to develop cancer. And I'm just like, If they had that answer of what causes cancer, then they know how to cure it. So I can't stand those or Ozempic. That would be my other relatable. Ozempic shows like these people semi-fit walking around, and I'm thinking I watched a family member of mine go on Ozempic and throw up their brains, for a whole 2 months. Yeah, those are my only two commercials that come to mind, and I'm just like, yeah, no, there is no fast pill or shot that's going to make you better. You still got to do the work yourself.
Well said, my friend. Thank you, and we appreciate you. Okay, we are rolling on, Tom. Tom, what do you think? Quick show and tell, and then you got to wrap us up.
Yeah, and I was just going to say too, to Jason's point, at the end of the day, I think it is, and this is an opinion that is shared pretty widely outside of the US for sure, but it is pretty absurd that we allow pharmaceutical advertising on TV. And folks in the medical community, a lot of doctors really hate it, right? Because then they have patients coming in requesting drugs as if they really have any idea what they're asking for, which they don't, because they're not pharmacists, they're not medical doctors, they're not scientists. They're people like you and me walking in going, "Hey doc, I want this drug," right? And not for nothing, but no doctor should have me come into their office and say, "I want this drug," and then turn around and write me a prescription. That is idiotic, right? And that is where pharmaceutical advertising leads. So my takeaway from Jason's thoughts there are like, we shouldn't allow pharmaceutical advertising. We didn't used to allow it, right? I think that changed in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken, but might have to fact check
Yeah,
myself
that's
there.
when you started seeing Tylenol ads and more. There was
Yeah.
more than Tylenol. The
Well-
90s is where it really kicked into gear.
But there was literally a legislative change that it used to be illegal for pharmaceutical companies to advertise drugs to the general public, and then there was a legislative change that made it legal. I don't know. I for one think we should probably wind that back. But now, without further ado, Dom, I'm curious to see what you have to show and tell us about this week.
Okay, Tom, I love a challenge, so I'm going to keep it so short for you because one, we believe in timelines on this. We believe in the value of action packing this show and then getting you out because we're going to take about 1 hour of your time and then we're going to let you do those amazing things like Jamie Hill, who is going to make vertical videos after this conversation today. So what I'm going to show you for show and tell is merch. I believe in company merch. Get yourself some merch, whatever it is. This is my Motivation Champs hat. Here's a Motivation Champ beanie. I got Motivation Champ coffee cups behind me. It's more than one today, but get yourself some merch. You have a brand, get some merch, get your friends to wear it. It doesn't all have to be about selling it. It could be wearing it. It could be representing your brand like Tom does every week with his Talex Media hat. If you want to sell it, find a site. You don't have to have 1,000 of them. A lot of people think I need to have 1,000 in inventory. That is not true. You can find sites to work for you that will drop ship and things like that. So today you are seeing Motivation Champs merch, Tom. That's what you got.
I mean, I like it. Obviously I'm biased. Anybody who's met me in the last 7 years has likely met me and seen me with this hat on. In fact, I'm almost never seen in public without it or without a hat on. It's sort of become a bit of a trademark thing for me. But yeah, this hat in particular, my Talex hat, is almost universally on my head. And it's because I believe that if you aren't proud enough of your brand or your business to wear it yourself, then nobody else ever will be. Right. So I very much, instead of wearing it on my sleeve, I wear it on my head, and Dom does too. I see Dom with his Motivation Champs shirt, his Motivation Champs hat, his Motivation Champs beanie. Even at the Steelers games, I see pictures. Dom posts pictures of himself at the Steelers games with a Motivation Champs beanie on. You got to get a koozie for your tailgating too. I don't know if you have any koozies for your tailgating for this.
That's a great idea, Tom. That's a great idea. Thank you.
There you go. Dom tailgating with a Motivation Champs koozie. Start handing them out at the tailgate.
I'm going to make them black and gold, and I'm going to do that. You'll see black and gold koozies at the game. Okay, we got Tom. Beth, you got to put your question in the comments because Tom's going to his wrap up for right now. We'll answer it in the comments. Tom's going to his wrap up. It was a good one today. We appreciate all you for being here. Tom, you got to wrap it up from the Met Gala to Top Dog Law to Blue Origin to bad commercials. Oh my goodness, this is tough. Go on.
All right. Well, so to wrap it up today, I'm just going to give a very sort of high level perspective on what advertising, I believe, what advertising is and what it should do. So there's I think a lot of people conflate a lot of things around advertising and marketing and brand awareness and brand reputation and all of those things. Advertising is sort of first touch sales, right? That's how I think of it. Advertising is first touch sales. It is sort of the entry point into the sales process for a brand or a business. And so really what you should be attempting to achieve with your advertising is not to make a sale. Stop trying to close sales with your commercials. That's not how it works. Talk to anybody who's spent time in sales. Dom's nodding. He's spent time in sales. Talk to anybody who's spent time in sales, and they will tell you right away that your first touch, your first exposure is not going to close the deal for you, right? It is not going to close the sale. Advertising is not meant to close the sale. It is meant to raise awareness and usher people into your sales process, right? And so to do that, I think the most effective advertising always has this in common, and that is that it is designed to make you feel good about the company, the product, or the service that they are advertising. That's it. That's all it has to do. And in order to do that, what you really should be focused on is your audience first. Who's your audience? Who are you talking to? How can you deliver for them? How do you make their lives better? And how do you make them feel good about the decision to support your brand, your business, your product, or your service, right? That is the whole game when it comes to advertising, in my opinion. And so that's what you should be focused on. So if you're creating advertising content for your brand or your business, think about your audience first and come up with ways to make them feel good about making that purchasing decision. Because at the end of the day, we all make all of our purchasing decisions based on emotion, period, end of story. I will die on that hill. So that's all I got for everybody this week. I really appreciate everybody being here. As always, for Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. We appreciate you guys being a part of the community. We love you guys. We are so glad that you come here to hang out with us every week. And we can't wait to see you again next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. Until then, have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. Love you guys.